And let's create a class, another class. We'll call this just the magic number game. Okay, magic number game. And you could make it this into like separate classes and so on, but we'll just do something very simple here. We'll make all this static. Okay, so that it's easier to do. Or maybe not static. We'll put up here, or instantiate a magic number object. We'll put it here. So in the class space, we'll do a private int magic num, and this is our number, which is 7, for example. We'll set that as a magic number. And then we're going to instantiate an object because we cannot get the number, right? It's well, we can make this into a static, which we'll just say static. Okay, so we'll make this so we don't have to instantiate an object of the magic number game. So we'll make everything static here. The point is to test for our if and switching cases and so on. So here is a precursor to the loop, which we'll cover next week, right? But now we use function to do that. So I'm going to say we're going to have a function to output the question that asks or that prompts the user to enter the magic number, right? So we have a function called of type void. So public static void get number. We'll get the number from the user. Once we get the number from the user, we're going to pass it to another function, static void, and we're going to check number. We'll pass the number of int type. We'll put it's called num. We'll pass the number from the get number class function, and then we'll evaluate the number here. So let's deal with the get number part. So when you call this function get the number, we're going to output a, or we do the scanner first, right? So you could do that in here, or you can put on the class space, completely fine, either way. But we'll just put in here, we'll just get one number, one read. So we'll say scanner input from the new scanner class, system.in. Then we import the scanner class from the utility. Notice that every time when I call this function, it's going to recreate the scanner input every time. Okay, and which is that's completely fine. Or if you don't want to do that, you can put this in global space and then make this a static, and then you just do it one time, and it will be available in the global space. That's okay. So when we get that, we're going to read into a number. We'll call this int number as well. We'll read from the input next integer. We'll assume it's an integer. But before we read the input, we want to output a statement to the user so they know. So we'll do a system out here. Say enter a or you can say, what do we want to say? Magic number. Okay, I'll put this in print line. So magic number. You can say enter a magic number. I'll do it. We'll read that into the num, and then we're going to pass that to the check number function, right? We'll pass the num to it, and that's all this one does. And then usually when you open the input stream like this, once you're done with it, you don't use it anymore, you should close it. So input.close. And you might have already seen this in the book if you do the exercise. It has a little warning saying input is not closed or something. Okay. So you can close it, you're done, and then when you call it again, so you create another input, and then the whole process gets start all over again. So I'll pass the number, the num, to the check number num here, and then here we're going to test for the number. So how do you write an algorithm to test for that? So this is the algorithm. So the word algorithm here is just to me it's the fancy word for the processes or the steps of how to solve this problem. How do we check that our number is going to be equal to our magic number? And also maybe we want to give a clue to the user, right? So you play those number games. How do you usually say? You prompt the user to enter a magic number, and you can say you can give a clue. I guess what, higher, lower, right? If it's too low, you can say. If it's low in your number, you can say oh higher. If it's low, too low, you say oh go higher or low, vice versa, right? So we got the number, and then we're going to test against this magic number here if it's equal to that or not. So what should we test here? Even or odd? Yeah, we could. So if we test for even or odd, I mean, do we really care or not? Yes, no? Okay. Yeah, we can go directly to the, you can use this case. You can check if the number is exactly our number or not, right? If it is, then it's done. If it's not, then we can give other options, right? But I mean, what you said is completely fine. It's okay to say odd or even. If you say, again, to give a clue, my imagined number is an even number. So now you actually, eliminated the other half of the numbers, which is pretty cool too, right? Or if you match for the number, then it's found. If it's not, you can say higher or lower. Okay. So we could just say if the number is equal to our magic number, okay. And then, if that's the case, then we're done, right? So we're just going to say system out yay, right? I guess. If that is true, then that's correct. You got the correct number, and the game is over. Yay, and then you can say game over. Congratulations, whatever it is, right? And then usually if it's a game, what do? Do you ask, usually you say, try again, play again, right? So we could do that. We could say system out play again. And then we could put here y or n. Actually, I should put that over here before the question mark. And we're going to read in the input. And then we'll say a character, right? So we are char of yes and no equal to, now again back to the input scanner, right? So I'm going to read it again. In this case, then I could make the scanner in the global space as global. So let's do that. Let's put up here. Let's make this input in the global space. I will make this static. Static. So it's available anywhere. We just call that directly here. And we're not going to close it, so we'll leave it open. So I have to kind of undo my thing here. So it's available in global space input. So I just do in here input dot next char, right? I removed the close, so I'll leave it open. Input dot next. You have a next character here. Does it have next char? Well, doesn't have it. Let's just put string here then. We'll assume we'll just enter the first character, yes or no. And then we'll test for that. We'll say if yn equals yes, capital Y, then we will call the function get number. Else, we just put on the message saying system out, thanks for playing. Right. And if you were that you might enter a lowercase y, you could make this force this into an uppercase. So you can say input dot y, you can make that into uppercase, right? So it will force it into uppercase. If you enter a small y, it will force that, so it will match this here. Otherwise, you would say equal to capital Y, or yn that equals lowercase y. Okay, so that is when our case is true, game over. Else, if the number is greater than our magic num, we have one case there. If that's not the case, then we have the other else part. Else, if number has to be less than our magic num. So we have all those three cases: the equal, less than, or greater than. So when you have something like this, the greater than, equal to, or less than like that, since you know this is like the other opposite of this, you don't have to use the if again condition. It's redundant, right? So in other words, I just say else, okay? Because it's not one of the above. So it has to be the other one, which is the less than the magic number. So if it's greater than our magic number, then we can give a clue to the user. We'll output a statement saying, just say lower, go lower, right? And then we call the get number again. And then the else part is just the other way around. It'll be higher. So your number is too low, go higher. And then we'll call again the get number. So I think that kind of completes our tiny game there. So we got the logic inside the check number. All it does is verify the number is equal to our magic number or not. If it's greater than, we just say go lower. And then if it's too low, we go higher. It's like that. The Price is Right game. All right, so in the main program here, we just basically call this get number. We start a game here. So usually we'll have another function called, start game or something. You will initialize your data, create a really nice menu options, and give a description of what the game is about, and then you give options they can choose. You press 1 to start, press 2 to, do something, or press 3 to find the highest score, and so forth. Right? Okay. So as you can see, my main function is really tiny, and that's the idea. You want to make this main as tiny as you can. You don't want to put all your logic in the main function, and that is basically, you see it's a bunch of function calls to other functions to set your data and so on. So all the logic should be coded inside other functions. Okay. All right. So let's see if this works. Save this, and we're going to run this game here. So here's the magic number. I'm going to enter, let's just say 99, and it says go lower, right? If I put, I could guess at 50. Let's go lower. Put at, let's just say 10. Even lower. If I put 3, this is higher. I put 6, higher, 8, lower, and then 7. You got it, right? Okay, game over. Let's say again, play again. I didn't do something there. Okay, so I did something. Oh, I didn't. Or maybe I didn't read off that. If you remember one of those questions in the book, you don't read off the extra line of characters. So it's kind of like went to the else part. So here, I should read off that character. So read the next line. Let's see. So the magic number here. So we do like an input that read the next line, right? So to get rid of that last character. Let's see if this thing runs this time. So again, I'm going to go just 6 higher, 7, and there it is, asterisk. So we'll play again. I say yes, lowercase, we'll just say, so the game repeats again, and then until we find that correct number, and then we'll say no, and game's over. Okay?
For the variable magic number, can you actually have it like get assigned a random number?
The magic number?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can set a random number every time when the game, I guess, starts again, right? So initially I set to 8. You could make that a random every time when you call the get number. Oh, not the get number. So right before, when the game's over, you say ask, play again. If they say yes, then before get number, you should call another function to reset the number to a random number. I don't remember what that value is, but I think it's a function here, it's the math function to get a random number between a certain range. Let's see if I remember. So magic number equals math dot get random number. Let's see, between 50. What is that function called? Let's see. That's not for the arguments int. If I do that, 1 times 10. Could print that out and see what that is. Well, let's see if I echo that out. We'll see what the number is. To system. This is random by 10. So I can get a number between, in this case, it's like between 0 and 10. Right? But as you can see, it's a decimal number. And if you want to change to a integer, then you want to put that into int type. You wrap it in int type, and then you get a number between 0 and 10. No, there's another value here. I forget what that number is, but you have to change to a whole number and then multiply by between a range between 0 or 1 and a certain number. You get the random number. Okay, and then right, so you put that in here. This conversion inside here. So when you say yes, play again, then you will set the random. You can just say call another function if you want get random, and then the number is now a different number, and you play again.